Okay, class, this week you have assignments from Learning Module 6 that are due. We are starting to get into the algebra of this course, which you can see we have stuff on equations, equations with whole numbers, equations with decimals, equations with fractions, multiple step equations, simple interest. You also have several homework assignments due, as well as competency check 8. And I'm actually going to fix this because this says competency check 5 and 6, which is not accurate. I'm just going to fix that. Yes, you are. Yes, you are still the only one, Tracy. I just want to fix this real quick. And there you go. Let me go back out and go back in. Okay. I don't know why it's running so slow. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Learning Module 6. And I'm just going to fix something that's here. I don't want you to get confused. Okay, so it's not competency check 5 and 6, it's only competency check 8. Okay, 16, 17, that should be 18. And okay. All right. So for Learning Module 6, you have quite a few homework assignments. You can see you have 6A through 6H, as well as competency check 8. And I didn't actually mean to click on competency check 8, but I did. So I guess I'll just start with that. I'm going to do some math problems for you guys. And of course, it's going to make me go back and forth a couple times. Okay. I'm going to try and be patient, but it's not working. I'm not going to be patient. Yep. See, I wasn't patient. Why is it running so slow today? There must be a lot of students logged into Blackboard right now because it is like a snail. I'm going to try one more time. If this doesn't work, I'm doing something else. Launch. Show everything. Seriously. I'm sorry, guys. Just to make it a little more complicated, right? Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Trying to be patient. There it is. Okay, so competency check 8 has 10 questions. I am going to work through these questions for you so you guys have some examples other than the lecture videos that you have. And so here is the first equation. So we have 10u minus 2u equals 120. And this is an equation. It has an equal sign. That means I need to simplify the left and the right side of the equation as much as possible before I actually start solving. And solving means to get the variable, whether it's a u or an x or s or t, it doesn't really matter. We want that variable all by itself, and we want everything else on the other side. That's how we know we're done solving, right? So I can see on the left-hand side that I need to simplify this expression, 10u minus 2u, and this gives me 8u equals 120. Okay, because simplify could mean a couple different things. It could mean that you need to distribute, right? It means that you may need to combine like terms, which is exactly what I did above. Or it also can mean that you are reducing or simplifying a fraction, okay? So in this case, simplifying for me meant combining like terms. Now that I've combined these like terms, I get AU, and my job is still to get this letter U all by itself. So I want to get this letter U all by itself. And the only way to do that is to divide by 8, because 8 and U are currently being multiplied together. In order to separate them, I need to do the opposite operation, which is division. And I'm only going to divide by the number I want to get rid of, which in this case is 8. And since it's an equation, you always want to treat both sides, the left and the right, the same. If I'm going to divide the left-hand side, then I also need to divide the right-hand side. And you can see by dividing by 8, I am going to get my variable all by itself, which is what I want. That's how I know that I'm done solving. And then I'm going to simplify this fraction. Again, here's part of simplifying. I have 120 over 8. If you're not sure what number to use, you can always kind of just go with the... Okay. Come on, give me my pen back. My pen isn't working now. This is just lovely. Seriously. This is just lovely. I'm sorry, guys. Today's just not my day. Let me see if it works in OneNote. Okay, I'm just going to see if my pen will work here. There it is. So I can go with the fact that 120 and 8 are both even. So if I divide 8 by 2, I'm going to get 4. If I divide 120 by 2, I'm going to get 60. And then I can see that these numbers are both still even. That means I can keep simplifying. But if you are comfortable with your multiplication tables, you may notice that 4 does go into 60 evenly. And how many times does 4 go into 60 evenly? It goes once, and it'll give us a remainder of 2. Bring down the 0, 5. So U equals 15. Did you have any questions on that one? Let me get all my drawings. Okay. I am going to go to number 2, which is 5u minus u. I would really like my pen to work here. Okay, so in this problem, we're going to do the same thing. Let me just go grab it real quick. Okay, I'm just going to pick this up. Bring it over there. Okay, so in this problem, same kind of thing. I have 5u minus u. I need to combine these like terms as much as possible, and I get 4u equals 32. And the same thing, I'm trying to get the variable alone, so I'm going to divide by the coefficient, which is 4 this time. This leaves me with my variable all by itself, and 32 divided by 4 is 8. Okay. Go to another problem. This one, this time has a little bit more to simplify, which is still okay. Okay, so in this problem, I have 6z minus 2z minus 9 equals 9. So I'm going to combine like terms first. 6z minus 2z is going to give me a 4z minus 9 equals 11. And now I'm going to start solving. Now first, I'm going to get rid of the term that is furthest away from the variable. Now 4 and z are married. They're like right next to each other. So I'm going to get rid of the 9 first. And again, the way you move a term from one side of the equation to the other is by doing opposite operation. So in this case, I'm going to get 4z equals 20, because when I combined 11 and 9, I get 20. And again, I want to separate the coefficient from the variable to get the variable all by itself, which means I'm going to divide by 4, which is going to give me z equals 5. Now, it is also a good habit to check your answers. And you can check your answers by plugging your answer into the original equation. Okay, so if I take my answer and I plug it in appropriately, I should end up with a true statement at the end, and that's how I know my answer was correct. 6 times 5 gives me 30. 2 times 5 gives me 10. With the minus sign is minus 10. Minus 9 equals 11. 30 minus 10 gives me 20, minus 9 equals 11, and 20 minus 9 is 11 equals 11. This is a true statement. That means that my answer above is correct. Okay, any questions on that? All right, let's go to another. Question number 4, pretty similar. They're just kind of giving it to us in different forms. So in this problem, I have 12a, and I'm just going to rewrite it down here. 12a equals 3a plus 45. Again, in order to solve, I want my variable to be all by itself on one side of the equation. This time, I have variables on both sides. It doesn't matter which side you put the variables on. I'm a creature of habit. I like my variables on the left-hand side because I want my answer to read the letter equals everything else. So I'm going to move 3a to the left side by doing the opposite, which is minus 3a. This cancels it from the right side, which is what I want, so I'm only left with a 45 on the right-hand side. And 12a minus 3a is actually going to give me 9a. To separate the 9 and the a, I have to divide because 9 and a are being multiplied together. The opposite of multiplication is division. So when I divide both sides by 9, I get a equals 5. And again, you want to make sure you go back and plug your answer in to make sure that you get a true statement. Okay? I'm just going to keep going. We get to another question. Question number 5. Okay, this one has some distributing involved, which is okay. Again, we always need to see if there's anything we can simplify. So I'm going to just take a second to rewrite it. Okay, and earlier, if you remember, I said simplifying could be distributing, combining like terms, or reducing a fraction. This problem actually has distributing in it, which means I'm going to take this 6 and I'm going to make sure that everything inside gets multiplied. So I'm going to end up with 13x equals 6x plus 42. And again, I want all my variables on one side of the equation, so I need to move that 6x to the left by doing the opposite. So here I end up with 7x equals 42. Again, division is almost always the last step. You need to separate the coefficient from the variable, and I just get x equals 6. Questions on that one? Okay, let me just see if there's anyone else here with us. Nope, it's still just us. Okay, got a new page. Minimize. Go get the next question. Okay. In this problem, we have to, yes, private session, exactly. We're going to grab this one. Okay, so this one says enter your ratio, enter the following as a ratio, as a fraction in the lowest terms. So 29 to 47 means nothing more than 29 over 47. And then we need to just see if there's a number we can simplify this by. 47 is actually a prime number. There's nothing that gives you 47 other than 1 times 47. Same thing with 29. There's nothing that gives you 29 other than 1 times 29. So this actually is simplified as much as possible. So let's go back to the homework page to see if it'll accept my answer, 29 over 47. Okay, so I'm going to type in 29 divided by 47. I always think it's good practice to just put parentheses around your fraction, and there you go. Okay. Autumn jogs 8 miles in 2 hours. How many hours will it take Autumn to jog 56 miles? So this is actually setting up a proportion, which pretty much means 2 fractions. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to the other screen so I can give you a nice explanation. Okay. So in this problem, what you want to kind of identify are what are the 2 things that we're talking about. First, she tells me that Autumn jogs 8 miles in 2 hours. How many hours will it take to do this many miles? So the 2 things here are miles and hours. These are the 2 things we're comparing in our ratio. Now we're going to set up a proportion, which pretty much means 2 ratios, so 2 fractions. My first fraction is 8 over 2, and again I'm being consistent. This is the miles and this is the hours. So I'm putting the miles at the top, the hours at the bottom. Equal sign, and I'm going to set up the second one. Now in this one it's asking me how many hours. Since I don't know the number, I'm going to use a variable because we use variables in place when we don't know what the number is. It did tell me the miles, which was 56. Again, notice miles at the top, the hours are at the bottom. So I was consistent all the way throughout. And then to solve this, we're actually going to cross multiply. So I'm going to just change my color. I'm going to multiply 8 times x, which means I'm going to get 8x. And I'm going to multiply 2 times 56, and I'm going to just do it on the scratch paper on the side here. Okay, I get 112. So I get 8x equals 112. And now it looks like a normal equation that what you guys have already been doing. And to get the variable by itself, I'm going to divide by the coefficient again. So I get x equals this fraction here. But again, I need to simplify. If you're not sure, start with the smallest thing you can think of. 8 and 112 are both even. So I'm going to get 4 at the bottom. I'll get 56 at the top. And again, if you know your multiplication tables real well, you know that, let's see, 50, can 4 go into 56 evenly? Yes, it can. How many times? 4 goes into 5 once with a remainder of 1. Bring down the 6. That gives me 16. So my final answer will be x equals 14. And I'll just do that over here just in case you're unsure. 4 goes into 5 once, right? I get a remainder of 1, bring down the 6. 4 goes into 16 4 times. That's how I got the 14 over here. Any questions about that one? Okie dokie. Go back, new. And I'll just keep going down. We got about 3 more problems in this set. So in this problem, it says, in a Northwest Washington County, speeding fines are determined by this formula, where F is the cost in dollars and the fine of the fine if a person is caught speeding at S miles per hour. If the police say you are going 64 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone, how much will your fine be? And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this 64 miles per hour, okay, and we're going to plug it in because that's what they gave us. S is the miles per hour and this is the miles per hour I was going. So they're basically saying S is 64. So again, let me grab this. Okay, and I'm going to take that equation, F equals 14S minus 30 plus 70. So F equals 14 times, the S in this case was 64, minus 30 plus 70. And as you can see, once you plug the number in, it's pretty much order of operations on the right-hand side. So I'm going to go F equals, and again, 14 times whatever I get from this. 64 minus 30 is 34 plus 70. I am not a human calculator, so I am going to do the 14 times 34 over here on the right-hand side. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1. 3 times 4 is 12. Make sure you indent. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1. So I get 476. So I'm going to come back over here. F is 476 plus 70. Again, not a human calculator. I'm going to go ahead and add my 70 right here. 6, 14, 5. So F is going to equal 546. So let's go back to the other page and see if it likes me. 546. And then submit. Oh, I'm not being patient. Okay. There we go. Let's go to the next one. This time, we're going to find the area of a rectangle using this formula. It's telling me that the length is 13 and the width is 9. So the length is L and the width is W. So I'm going to do basically 13 times 9. Okay? Let's see if my pen will work for me. Nope. I still have to use the other one. So I got 13 times 9. New screen. There, so my area is length times width. My length was 13 and my width was 9. Scratch paper on the side. 7, 29, 10, 11. So my area is 117. And 117, what? It's going to be square units because area is always square units. And it's going to be, let's see, feet. So square feet. 117 square feet. Now you can see they already wrote the square feet there. So I should just be able to type in my number. But again, you want to remember the area is always squared. Okay? Alright. Last but not least, number 10 says, which of the following choices corresponds with the graph above? Since this is a closed dot on top of the 5, that means 5 is included. So this is, my x is going to be greater than or equal to 5, which in this case will be this one. I'm not going to pick just greater than because this closed circle means not just the numbers that are bigger than 5, but also 5. And there we go. Okay, so I went over the entire competency check 8. I want to, again, just make sure you guys are aware of what assignments are due. So I'm going to go back to Learning Module 6, which you can see, let me get my mouse back, which you can see there are several videos, not to mention this video I just recorded for you. This assignment here is basically asking you to upload your notes from watching the videos from 6.5 and 6.6. So the same way when you're in class you would take notes, when you watch these videos you should take notes. When you get help from online tutors or face-to-face tutors, you should be taking notes. This is part of that binder that you guys are going to submit at the end of the semester when you go to take your final exam in any Valencia testing center. So here I'm just basically asking, well, show me that you've been taking notes. So you'll either scan or use Cam Scanner or take a picture of your notebook. You'll save it to your desktop. You'll give it a name, notes from section 6.5, 6.6, and you'll save that to your computer. And when you click on the assignment, you will be able to browse your computer and find the file that you saved. Now, as you can see, I have a lot of files. You find it, you hit OK, and you hit Submit at the bottom. Okay? You also, just make sure we know. And again, if you can't upload these documents electronically, you need to make a way to either fax them to me or bring them in person, because I do not want you to get zeros for no reason. So here's all your links to your individual homework. Here's your links to your competency check that we went over today. And here again is another place for you to upload your work. This time it's work from MAT0018C. And again, I'm only asking for 6F and 6G. I'm not asking to see all of Chapter 6. And you would also save that document to your desktop, click on the assignment, browse your computer, and upload it as an attachment. Again, if you cannot do it electronically, you need to find a way to get that those assignments to me. They're easy points. There's no reason for you to get zeros for them. I would hate to see you guys not end up with a C in the class for something silly. I do want to make sure I mentioned, I know I wrote it in an announcement, so actually I'll go to the announcements. Make sure you guys have read them. And eventually it'll open. Okay. You can see here that last Friday I updated your grades. And I specifically wrote, in an effort to try and help you bring your grades up, I have set all iMath assignments to be due by October 16th, except for Learner Module 1 and 2. So I just felt like Learning Module 1 and 2 were way too easy. They should have been done, so I did not open those. But Learning Module 3, 4, 5, 6, and everything after, as well as all of your competency checks, will be open until the last day of class, which is October 16th. Again, keep in mind that October 16th is also the last day for you to take your final exam in a Valencia testing center. You cannot take your test at home. You are not allowed to use a calculator. You shouldn't be using a calculator even for other assignments. You need to bring your Valencia ID with you when you go take your final. Also, don't forget that you should have at least 8 hours in the math lab. This is an easy 10% of your grade. There's no reason not to get the help that you need. If you're deciding to get help online through Atlas with Smart Thinking or NetTutor, just print out your report that says how much time you've spent with a tutor, scan it to me, email it to me, fax it to me, drop it off, and I will count that as your hours. I'm very flexible, but if you don't do it in any fashion, you'll just get a 0 for that 10%, and that's hopefully that's not what's going to happen. Other than that, again, Learning Module 6 should be done by this weekend, and next week you should start working on Learning Module 7 and 8. There's 2 because they're not very long, but don't procrastinate, because we all know what happens when you procrastinate. Any questions you want me to go over, Tracy, before I get out of here? All right.